What's up, Dynamite fans? I wanted to give you guys a very exclusive look at our premium virgin covers for some of this week's books. Right here, we have Nick's number 3. This is an exclusive cover by the incredible Rose Besh. We're going to have some of these on our Monday shows, so please check us out this Monday at 6 p.m. Hope to see you there.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and I'm here with Rex from Dynamite. What's up, my man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing today?
I'm feeling good, waking up, drinking some coffee, chatting with my buddy Rex. We may talk a little bit about football. We'll talk about the upcoming EXP show Comics Experience on Monday night, what we got available. This is always a fun chat between me and you, Rex. You never know which way it's going to go.
This is true. You never know, man. You never know. So a lot of stuff going on. So over the last night, I finally got to watch The Eternals. So we'll probably talk about that a little bit. Did you watch it yet or no?
I watched it Wednesday night. I did.
You did? Okay. So
I have thoughts.
We can chat about that a little bit. Right before the show started, we were chatting a little bit about Wild Card Weekend coming up, what to expect there. It should be interesting. It should be an interesting weekend, especially this season. You just don't know what you're going to get, from week to week, dude.
Yeah, but I'm picking up that you don't have as much faith in your Eagles as I do in my Cowboys. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because Eagles fans are not delusionary like Cowboys fans are.
I mean, they have a history of being delusionary. Come on, bro.
Who, the Eagles? No,
yeah, every NFL team does. Come on.
I'd say we are brutal fans, but we are also probably the most honest, okay? I mean, look, the Carson Wentz thing, well, that turned out to be true, didn't it?
Yeah.
That right away, I mean, we saw what was happening with that, dumped them, okay? And I'm no fan of Howie Roseman as GM, but, got rid of him, and he goes to the Colts and does exactly the same thing. The guy just can't, bad decisions at critical moments. He's just not that guy. He can't get you over that hump. It's like, I think he has fewer interceptions than Tom Brady, but you don't get that same feel. When the chips are down, you're right there. Tom Brady's going to drop a dime on somebody, and just float it in there and not do anything stupid. Carson Wentz, you can just be guaranteed if if all the chips are on the table, it's on the line, he's going to do something goofy and stupid and scramble around the pocket, fumble the football. It's just something about that, Mm-hmm. And I'll point to another Eagle. I won't even beat up on the Cowboys. I'll point to another Eagle, Donovan McNabb.
Oh, yeah.
His numbers do not really show you the kind of quarterback that he was, because he got a lot of those stats. His stat line was always looked a little beefed up because a lot of that was in garbage time. After the Eagles were already down too many touchdowns, and he's obviously just throwing it up there, and defenses are playing prevent defense, playing deep and stuff. So it's just that turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to us. And now Carson's got some problems in Indianapolis. I don't know what he's going to do.
Well, here, Rex, is to all the last place teams yet again. Somebody's got to be last. So here's to the Jets, the Lions, the Giants, all of
the Jags. The Jags, of course, man.
The Jags with the ultimate last place team. But
talk about getting the win and still getting the first pick. I mean, that was rubbing salt in the wound for Colts fans. I feel bad for them.
That's 2 first picks in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
For them. I mean, they got to be able to do something next year, right?
they gotta go find themselves a coach, man. That's a big thing.
I've heard they're talking to. I think they're talking to a bunch of people. I think Kellen Moore is supposed to be one of them, but apparently a lot of people are going to be after Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore, and they're saying well, we're going to focus on the postseason. That's what every coach says. But I'd like to keep the team together. Y'all can have McCarthy, but let us keep Moore and Quinn, man.
They're going to pick them off. It always happens. But the fact that nobody's jumping. If Flores is not a head coach somewhere, then people are just stupid. The Giants should be all over Flores right now.
Yeah, they probably, for sure.
the guy's proven himself in with the Dolphins, and I just can't believe that they did that. That was just probably monumentally like, hey, we're showing some success. Let's mess that up. Let's get rid of this head coach. So
yeah, I definitely think that one was a bad call. I want to know real quick then, because you mentioned it already. What did you think about the Eternals?
So I finally watched it last night. Right, it was available to stream on Wednesday. So with all the negative press that was coming out, I didn't have very high expectations, right? So I watched it, and it wasn't as bad as I was anticipating because the critics and the fans really bashed it. But I think the problem was you were covering a comic title that really wasn't that overwhelmingly popular to begin with. They don't necessarily, they haven't been introduced to the movie fans, through the MCU really, although they try to drop things in here and there, I noticed. And they tried to tell too many stories in the one movie. That's what I think they went wrong. I think the movie could have been simpler. They could have focused more on, a few of the relevant things, but they were trying to cover all this stuff. They were trying to jam all this information into the one movie. I think that's where it got lost. I think if they simplified it, kept the story a little bit simpler, focused on maybe a handful of characters and really kind of fleshed that out a little bit, it would have been a much better movie. It just, Angelina Jolie, don't understand why she was in the movie.
She was wasted in that movie.
Yeah, I just didn't. She played not a major role, and nothing against her as an actor, but I didn't see. I guess that was just the star power. I don't know what that was about. It didn't make much sense to me. I didn't see why she needed to be there.
Yeah, I feel that too. I'll be delivering my full thoughts, everybody, on Rockin Robbie Live Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. But in general, I didn't really like it, but I also didn't really necessarily hate it. I didn't hate it. There were things about it that I did like. There were characters I really liked. My favorite character being, is it Kingo? He was the Bollywood star guy.
Yes, yes.
Him and his homie, they were cracking me up. But the movie to me didn't feel like the dynamic energy of Jack Kirby, right? I felt like they were basically slapping Jack Kirby in the face with some of their decisions that they made about his characters or his concepts. There are elements of the movie I like, elements I really don't like. I do think it's overly long and a bit dull because of it. Whereas Dune is long, but mesmerizing every moment.
Yes.
I didn't get that out of this one, right? I feel like they felt like they were making something very important, and maybe they were focused too much on that. But I honestly, if you look at what they were trying to do, the story they were trying to tell, with the scope, with as much focus on all these different characters, I think a TV show would have been a much better way to go about this. You could have had
that's a good point. Yeah.
You could have had a whole episode like in Babylon. You could have had a whole episode devoted to Icarus or Phastos or any of these characters to build up what you needed to, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing. It's like I don't know. It's like someone writing an English paper, and you're told that your paper should be 5 pages, and you write 12. But really, it could have been done in 5. You know what I mean? It felt like that. It's like the whole Icarus thing, and then the betrayal, and then so on and so forth. It just you didn't expand on that. You know what I mean? There were no hints. Just all of a sudden, boom, he's the bad guy now. What? When did that happen? It just felt like they just kept shoving stuff in there. Oh, another storyline. And I got to be honest with you, I did not like the character of Cersei. I just did. I didn't. She's supposed to be the strong character, but she overwhelmingly came across as weak and needy. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there wasn't much charisma there for me in many of the performances. That's why I think Kingo stood out to me so much, because he delivered a really good performance. So did Gilgamesh. And Thena's story relies so much on their connection with Gilgamesh, right?
Yes.
But if this was a TV show, you could have had a whole episode. You had episodes and threads but you pick it up. It's subtle. It's cool. It's there. But the focus is on Cersei, and that's not as an engaging of a story to me. Plus, they didn't really, I'm not trying to spoil too much, but they didn't really have a good villain. And you could tell that's why they had to do what they had to do, because they were like, we don't have a villain. And the bad guys, the deviants, what? So now they're just, once again, in unrecognizable, just generic movie monster alien things. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I thought at one point that they were kind of dancing on the edge of the deviants being like, and this would have been a good storyline, I think, that the deviants were kind of yes, we think they're bad guys, but then, midway through the movie, he takes Gilgamesh's power. I think that's what happened. And then he developed a face, and then they discovered, look, we're not really the bad guys, we're victims too. And then they just dropped it.
And they went nowhere with it.
Yeah, they went nowhere with it. And I thought that would have been an interesting storyline there. But they didn't go anywhere with that. They just kind of hinted at it, and then nothing happened, right? Then they just became another bad guy when they're fighting Icarus. I mean, and to me, it was like kind of lost. But I agree with you that relationship between, Gilgamesh and
Athena.
Athena,
Athena,
right? I thought that was interesting. I thought that was an engaging storyline. She's kind of going crazy, and he's going to take care of her. There was something there. The Circe Icarus thing, I'm like, okay, you got married, okay, you got these little flashbacks, and you're trying to turn it into a rom-com, which I have no problem with, but it wasn't a very engaging rom-com. It was just like, oh, okay, so you're in love, and it turns out, oh, I had this secret all this time, and it's like, dude, save it. Okay.
Do you have any idea what it's like to have a secret? Like, no, nobody knows.
Yeah, and then he disappears. And they never explore that. Well, where'd you disappear to? What were you doing? Were you just hanging out at bars? So I agree, though, the Bollywood aspect of it, that was funny. That really kind of added something to the texture of it. But then he as well, though, whose side were you really on, though? They kind of destroy that character because he becomes a flip-flopper, after it's discovered that Icarus is a bad guy, he kind of became a flip-flopper, and then it kind of diminished his character a little bit. But he was, but the whole Bollywood angle, and then his valet, that was moments that were very entertaining. But they never really explored that either.
Yeah, it interjected a little bit of fun into what really needed it, man. 2.5 hours was way too long for this movie, and it does drag, and it has a weird structure, like it really does. Like, you basically get to the end of Act 2, and now we're bringing in another character, Fasto. So now we got to try to spend time developing him, and it's just like, this could have. There's a lot of potential there. If it was, if you wanted to do this and go this route, instead of a 2.5 hour movie, a 6 to 8 hour show would have probably been the better way to go. And I didn't pick up on anything from Kirby in this movie, aside from just the names of the characters and the ancient alien aspect.
The only, or another option would have been, know with a plan that you're going to break this up into 2 movies. Okay. And you focus on the one part, and then the second movie you focus on another part. And it's almost as if they wanted to cover all this material, but they just couldn't do it. And in the end, instead of being, covering a handful of topics or storylines and making it really good, they ended up jamming so much into it that everything was, And I agree with you, your impression. I didn't walk away going, I hated it, but I'm like, yeah, and then, ironically enough, what I ended up doing. So I watched last night. I watched Boba Fett. Still kind of, my jury's still out for me on that one. I can see the potential there. Then I watched the Eternals, and then I was like in that MCU kind of mindset. So I think I ended up watching. I watched Captain America: Civil War, and I watched Captain America: First Avenger, and you could feel the difference, the quality in that storyline. They didn't try to go too far into it. They didn't try to cover too many different topics. They stayed with a main storyline and then just filled it in with the details, that you saw. And that to me had a good flow to it. And I just I was on the channel, so I figured, I'll watch another MCU movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eternals, I can see why people just didn't You know, it's unfortunate. And then Harry Styles at the end.
Oh, is that the guy that was playing Star Fox or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just that made it even worse. Like, really, really, you know?
I don't know who that guy is, but like I saw that and I was like, that's the route they're going. So I thought that was cool. Now, obviously, we're getting into we've gotten into some spoilery territory, but the very, very, very last post-credit scene in Eternals, right? Do you even know what was going on? Because I had to have my buddy show me an article to tell me what the significance of that was. First of all, I know Black Knight and the Ebony Blade and all that, right? But do you know whose voice that was at the very, very end?
No, whose?
It's Blade.
It's who?
It's Blade. It's Mahershala Ali. It's him.
Really?
It's confirmed that it's him. It's Blade's voice. He says something like, Whitman's about to touch the Ebony Blade, and he says, are you sure you're ready for that, Mr. Dr. Whitman, or something like that? And I'm like, how are we supposed to know that? Because I didn't know who it was. I was like, what is that? Is that Nick Fury? What's going on? Is it Hawkeye?
It was way too disjointed. I think they were overly ambitious in the stories that they wanted to tell. They tried to mix too many, and to be quite honest, too many characters. You know, I think the way they kind of did the Avengers was the right way. You had independent movies based on independent characters. Not saying that it would have worked for the Eternals, but you had, you know, these characters, you know, Captain America, Iron Man, you had all these characters already developed in their own movie. Then when you bring it all together, you can stick with the basic storyline of what the Avengers are doing at that point, because you already have an intro to all these other characters. Yeah. But with Eternals, it's like you threw all these characters out in one movie, and now you're trying to tell all these different stories at once. And I totally think that the whole Circe Icarus story was a bad move. That would have that really kind of, you know, it was just so dull. Like, nobody cares. You guys live forever. I mean, come on, you know, get over it, right? And then you know, and the other storyline, what's his face? From oh shoot, I'm really getting old. I can't remember anybody's name. From oh shoot.
Are you talking about Kit Harington?
What's that?
Are you talking about Kit
Harington? Yes.
Yeah, Black Knight.
What was the point of that?
Just to introduce Black Knight, I guess, and to have Blade's voice at the very end. Because otherwise, yeah, what is the point of having Dane Whitman in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, that would have been better saved for, like, the end credits, you know, the Easter egg end credits. You know, yeah. I didn't see the purpose. You introduce him a little bit, you know, it looks like he's going to be in the movie, and then he's not in the movie. You know?
Yeah, you get the impression that they really expecting to be able to go back to this world, to these characters, to this story, because it even says at the very, very end, the Eternals will return, right? Maybe that return will be in other things. I don't know. We'll have to see, because I know a lot of people it didn't do so well in the theater, right? But now a lot of people are watching it, and I am seeing some people that are liking it, and but a lot of people that are not liking it, and then most people, like kind of like me and you, like where we're just like, it's okay. But
you know,
Marvel needs that. If they want to keep the attention of the movie going public, they really got to hit something harder than just Spider-Man.
Here's the other thing I think they did wrong. I think they made a mistake on the director. Okay, so Chloe Zhao, right? She was the director, and
I'm not familiar with her other work. I don't think.
I mean, she's a tremendous director, but action films of this nature require a different kind of director. You know what I mean? And she's not known as an action film director. So now you have an action film going on, and you know, I don't believe that you can, not to say that you don't have directors that can do the both of them, but I don't think she's one of them. I think her movies tend to be more cerebral, dealing with more, you know, real life issues. And I think that's what she was trying to kind of put in the Eternals, but it just didn't work. You know, it's like, you know, if I want something deep and I want to examine the human existence, then I'll watch that movie. Okay. You're talking about a bunch of immortal people floating around with superpowers. I mean, you know, there's nothing about the human existence here. You know, this is not, you know, interpersonal maybe, and then she picks the wrong one, you know.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of her work. I've never seen Nomadland or The Writer or Any of daughters?
It's all kind of cerebral stuff dealing with human existence and things like that. And they're great movies. Don't get me wrong. But this is an entirely different kind of it's like, some people race boats, some people race cars. Just because you're successful racing boats, it doesn't mean you can put you behind, a stock car and you're gonna win the Daytona 500. You know what I'm saying? It's both racing, but very different vehicles to race with. And I think that's kind of went wrong there too. And she wanted to be kind of cerebral about it, but it's just, it's not the right audience for it. So I didn't really see it that way.
Yeah. All right. If you had, out of a score of a possible 5, what would you give it, Rex?
2.5.
Okay.
All right. I would have watched it. Even now, after watching it, I still would have watched it. But I think there's just too many things they kind of messed up. They were overly ambitious of what they could do in the period of time that they had. And they ended up going 2.5 hours anyway. Yeah. So it's I agree with your point. It would have been better served to have a streaming series like Loki or like that, or to break it up into 2 movies and keep it a little bit simpler. It totally would have wiped out. I mean, you could have cut 40 minutes out of that if you just cut out the whole Circe Icarus thing. Yeah, that's 40 minutes of the movie right there. And honestly, nobody cared because it didn't go anywhere. Yeah. It didn't really go anywhere. What was the point in that? You didn't explore any of the issues. So what was the point in, constantly going back to that? It didn't make any sense. Like the wedding scene. I didn't even get that. I didn't get that.
Yeah. I guess they were just trying to establish something that they needed to be established just so that the story would have weight. And I just feel like there were some miscues, especially in that story, the main focus of the story in particular, and just the lack of I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird movie, though I am hearing good things about Peacemaker though. So I'm excited to jump into that because that seems fun.
Yeah. I like to see that too. I like seeing it. So, it doesn't take himself too seriously, which I like. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. So
yeah, me too. See, you never know what you're gonna get here on the chats with Rex because we talked a little football, then we went deep into the Eternals.
We did.
And so there you go. You never know what's going to happen when we talk about on Monday nights either over at the EXP.
We kind of make it up, right? We make it up as we go along. So I did want to cover the Dynamite titles coming out this week, right? So we got Nick's number 3 coming out, Vampyverse number 5, and Hell Sonja number 1. And we've got a bunch of the variant covers, and also the highly limited edition Virgin variants that we're doing for them. With I think Rose Besh has one for Nick's number 3. Let me see, Vampyverse number 5, Steven Segovia, and I think I'm gonna mangle this name. Matabek Musabekov is cover A, I believe. That was Musabekov, and then Hell Sonja number 1, and you got covers from Lucio Perillo, Jay Lee, Joseph Michael Linsner, and there's a TMNT homage by Ken Hazer. So there's a lot of great stuff that came out this week for Dynamite. And then our show on Monday, as always, 6 to 8, we're gonna have. I'm thinking, what did I do? We've got the mega mix pack, and this for Monday I did a Walking Dead one, and let's see, and then we've got our Scotty Young, who I love. So we have Indestructible Hulk with the Scotty Young variant cover signed by Mark Waid, and then I went, I guess because of Boba Fett, I went heavy on the Star Wars Hazer remarks. So we've got 3. We've got Mandalorian, Gamoran Guard, and then throwback to Darth Vader, and then we've got a couple more Hazer pieces there, and I think some of these variant covers we might bring on the air on Monday as well. Nice. So a lot of good stuff, and our fans always keeping us engaged, keeping the chats active and lively. So they're usually the ones that give us the topics of discussion. I think with Alec, we did. Somebody said something on his show, and it just bled right into Wednesday's show last week. We just started talking about grading and is it worth grading or not grading. So when you join us, you never know what you're going to get because we don't know what we're going to do yet.
Yeah, for real. And always join us. Your conversation helps drive the show. And usually when we do these contests, and I'm about to announce the winner of the contest, right?
You know what? I have to go grab the prize. I'm working single handed today. Amy had the day off, so I'm a one-man band. So you spin your wheel, your Robbie's wheel of ridiculousness, and I'm going to go grab the contest prize. I'll be right back.
You got it. All right, so all you had to do to enter the win this contest was participate in the chat on Monday's show over at The Experience, and then we're going to announce the winner. Just one random lucky person is going to get this prize. There's another contest. The winner will be announced on Monday night's show over at the EXP, and all you have to do is comment on this video below, and you're entered to win the contest. And the winner from this week's contest from Monday night's chat is spinning the wheel. Rockin Robbie's revolutionary wheel of ridiculousness. It is Stevie B.
Stevie B, our buddy Stevie B. So Stevie B will receive a Witchblade Millennial autograph card, and this one is going to be signed by Joe Jusko. Let me see if I got it up, if you can see it. All right, so Stevie B, this will be coming your way, buddy.
Nice.
So we do these contests every week, and if you are a regular, you know how it works. If you're joining Robbie for the first time, or you have not entered the contest, as Robbie said, just throw something up on the chat, and whoever throws something up on the chat for this show, we will do the drawing on Monday for the winner, and then whoever throws up something on the chat on Monday will announce the winner on Fridays on Robbie's show. So we've been doing it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has been a lot of fun, and doing these chats with you on our channel, it's always a lot of fun. I enjoyed hanging out, talking to the Eternals for sure. And it's always a great show, man. We talk, you'll never know. We'll talk about spam. Obviously, we'll talk about the results a little bit of Sunday's wild card day, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, every Monday and Wednesday on The Experience, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're on with our Comic Collectibles show. A little bit of comics, a little bit of chit-chat. Usually we'll try to, cover topics. Usually most of the topics are suggested by our viewers. They'll throw it up on the chat, ask a question, or make a comment, and me and Robbie will just start running with it. Yes. Where we're running to, we don't know. Sometimes in circles, but it's always a good time. I've said this so many times. The best part of my job is just because basically I'm just sitting here talking. I think that which show was it? I think it was Wednesday. I was doing it from my house, and I was having internet problems. Okay, and the irony of life was, I can just keep talking and not even notice nobody's listening. I'm a dad, so that's something that happens quite frequently. And I'm thinking, my gosh, Alec is being so rude. He's just talking right over me, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, Rex, are you still there? Oh, it looks like we lost Rex. And I'm like, oh, it's like when you're on the phone and you're talking and somebody gets cut off and you're still talking. And then finally you're like, hello, are you still there?
You feel so stupid. You know what I'm saying? You're just like talking. You're like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Hello? Are you there?
Still there? Yeah. So as my daughter says, I can just talk to myself, and nobody. And I might not notice for the first hour or two.
That's funny.
So it's always interesting, but we always have a good time. We're trying to recreate that local comic book shop feel, local con, that kind of thing. Everybody here, we all have. Obviously, we're brought together by our love of comics, but it's not the only thing we'll talk about. So.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Monday night. Thank you for checking out this video. Rex, thank you for joining us. Looking forward to chatting with you again on Monday.
Pleasure, as always, man.
All right, y'all. Y'all keep living, keep rocking, keep loving, and station. Pop, pop, boom, baby.